Hi, everyone. I'm Nour Hazem, and let me get straight to the point. So, when I was 16 years old, I reluctantly fell in love. And no, not with a person. I fell in love with reading. I just loved how books transported me into different worlds and different realities. So, when I turned 18 and became a climate justice advocate and a political science student, those fictional stories turned into real statistics and stories of real people and the challenges and opportunities that they face because of the climate crisis. On top of which, women, you guessed it. I can never shake off the stories of young girls in Somalia who got taken out of school and got shipped off to marry such an old man, not with choice, but forcefully because droughts hit home and their parents want to take dowries in exchange of the girls. Not to mention the daily struggles of young girls who have to walk approximately 6 hours per day to get water during times of droughts. And don't get me started about the extensive statistics about how women are increasingly affected by the climate crisis. At this point, you might be thinking, all right, Nour, you're so off point. I mean, you've spoken about reading, you've spoken about women, and you've spoken about climate change. Isn't the topic is about green entrepreneurship? Well, at this point, I won't ask you to trust me, but I would ask you to humor me. So let me just transport you to one of my stories. If you could just all close your eyes. No sleeping is allowed, and I'm not hypnotizing you. All right, yeah? Are we good? Imagine that you've been invited by a social enterprise. The social enterprise is working on solar energy. And you're just walking, seeing workers here and there manufacturing the solar panels. And then you meet the CEO, and then he greets you very fervently and tells you, the CEO tells you, let's go to the office. All right, all right, all right. Then you speak with them a little bit, and cut. Now we're done. Open your eyes. I want you to answer this question very honestly. How many of you imagined the CEO to be a woman? Okay, so we have one. All right. Yeah, I did see it. And this just shows you how the stigma is just so inculcated in our heads, right? So you are not alone, all right? Thank you, Jamana, for thinking of a woman, but unfortunately, the statistics also say that only 9% of women work in the energy sector, and when it comes to, the business level, the higher level, this percentage gets lower and lower. And you might be asking, all right, Nour, not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to force it down their throats. Well, 35% of women actually want to be entrepreneurs. Okay. Maybe they just don't have the potential for it. At least the economy is better and the competence is better than anything. Well, let me tell you that actually women-led businesses have been proven to score better on environmental, social, and governance scores. They have also generated twice as much revenues as their male counterparts. Not to mention that women tend to employ other women. And this is a trend that is actually expected to generate $28 trillion by 2025. And yes, you heard me right, and the statistic is true. It's $28 trillion. All right. And this also doesn't get me into the actual examples that we have here in Egypt, from Nour Ramadan from Banlastic Egypt working on climate education and banning single-use plastic, to Najla Abdel-Latif working on using the power of social media for zero waste. Not to mention Salma Bouarani from Morocco working on enhancing the water efficiency in an environmental friendly way. All right, so despite the fact that women are the most affected by the climate crisis, they also have such a great potential in tackling it. They face so many challenges. Okay, error. Why? Let me tell you a few. It all starts from here, from the social norms. From the norms that dictate that actually jobs in the STEM jobs, which constitute most of the green jobs, are actually those of men, not of women. The same social norms who dictate that women undergo the unfair care burden of children, which obviously takes a lot of time for their opportunity to, tackle businesses. As well as the finance. And don't get me started on the finance. Does anyone want to take just a wild guess as to the percentage of finance allocated to projects regarding women in climate change? 3%. Any other guesses? 6%. Okay. It's actually 0.01%. And Tom is shocked. Does anyone want to take also a wild guess as to the gap between, the finance given to male entrepreneurs versus women entrepreneurs? In numbers this time. Any guesses? 1.1? Okay. It's $1.7 trillion. A gap of $1.7 trillion. Can you imagine that? And the fourth challenge is regarding education. There's no proper entrepreneurial education, and when you're at school, you're never told you can be a green entrepreneur. You can be told you can be an artist, you can be a doctor maybe, but to be an entrepreneur, you never hear that. All right. I think by this point, you're thinking, all right, Nour, for someone who's called Nour, aka Light, you have managed to paint such a dark and grim picture of women in green entrepreneurship. So I think it's time to speak about some hope, to live up to my name, But to talk about hope, I need to speak about action, because as Greta Thunberg once said, hope comes with action. And let's start talking about action on 4 key levels. First, the governmental level. Second, the private sector level. Third, the media level. And lastly, the X factor. We will reveal it after a few whiles. Okay, when it comes to the government, what is needed? First things first, we need gender-sensitive entrepreneurship curriculum. We cannot keep on taking on curricula that are only educated for men and not educated for women, catered for women. Secondly, we need programs that provide women with the green skills that they need, women either in green entrepreneurship or thriving women to be in that field. And to do that, we need gender disaggregated data, because to do something that is catered for women, we need data to, cater for that. And fourthly, and most importantly, we need some channels, some platforms for women entrepreneurs to speak with the government. And these platforms are not only dialogue-related platforms, they are platforms for dialogue as well as action, in addition to more women in decision-making powers. And you must be thinking, all right, how does women in decision-making powers related to green entrepreneurship? Well, right now, only 15% of women globally contribute to decision-making processes related to the climate crisis. And if we have more women in that kind of field, we will cater gender-sensitive policies, gender-responsive policies that ensure that women have the opportunity to thrive as green entrepreneurs. Now, to take off the government hat and wear the private sector hat. Okay, when it comes to the private sector, first things first, we need more women in the financial sector, especially in the financial boards, because more women in the financial boards mean more women entrepreneurs will be given loans in the field of the green entrepreneurship. We also are in a desperate need of networks, platforms for women entrepreneurs, to network with governments, stakeholders, to ensure that they are able to thrive in a healthy ecosystem. Off the private sector hat and onto the media hat. We need some media to shed light on women role models like the ones that I've mentioned before. Because seeing is believing. And when other women see other women thriving in the field of green entrepreneurship, this will really guarantee that they think that there is a possibility for them to penetrate that sector. And lastly, the X factor, which is us. The X factor is every single citizen to unlearn some of the things, the he that I said, regarding women and their penetration in fields like energy, the penetration in the fields of waste management, and so on and so forth. Because starting with changing the mindset means changing the actions as well. All right. Some of you might be thinking, I am launching a revolution against male entrepreneurs, and that no programs are catered for women. But the answer is actually no. I'm not launching any revolution. I'm just saying that more needs to be done for women entrepreneurs, not only to benefit women entrepreneurs, but every single person in the society. Which brings me to my finishing or closing statement. So anyone who got bored, you can have your sigh of relief. You see, the stories of struggle that I've spoken on from the beginning, they weren't ours to write. But now we have the pen. or the keyboard. So we can write new stories where women are no longer the hidden stewards of the Jasmine transition, but have every single opportunity to be at its forefront. Thank you.